I've got one more Asmongold Trump video left after this one. I get my internet back tomorrow so I can actually see what's going on in the world. I've been lost. I haven't had internet. I mean, I kind of have, but it's just been Twitter. Or X, whatever you want to call it. Some more Asmongold Trump stuff. Here we go.
Here are 10 key ideas that will power our movement for great schools. First, we will respect the right of parents to control the education of their children. Second, we will empower parents and local school board to hire and reward great principals.
I agree with that 90%, but I don't want to see, like, for example, in a very religious community, I don't want to see parents pressure the schools into teaching the kids religion or not teaching them about evolution or certain things in science that contradict the religion. So, like, I'm on board with this about 90%.
Wait. Let me get that again.
We will empower parents and local school board to hire and reward great principals.
I agree with that 90%, but I don't want to see, like, for example, in a very religious community, I don't want to see parents pressure the schools into teaching the kids religion or not teaching them about evolution or certain things in science that contradict the religion.
I disagree with that. I disagree. Honestly, I do. I think that if you want to teach your kids something, you teach your kids that, even if it's wrong. I don't believe that you should be teaching your kids wrong things, but, like, who's to tell you what to teach your kids, and who's to say what's right and wrong? Sure, there's scientific evidence, but who's to say there's not going to be more evidence later in the future that's going to destroy all of the things that we once knew? Because it happens all the time. Honestly, I don't think that you should be teaching your kids one thing. I think you should be teaching your kids everything while keeping in mind that all of this can change. All of it. Every single bit of it can change as we find more science. So, like, yeah, we could say evolution is real and it occurs, but don't make it definitive. Don't, because when you do that, you start denying evidence of it being incorrect. That's why the Earth was flat for so long. That's why the Earth is flat now to some people.
So, like, I'm on board with this about 90%, not 100.
And teachers, and also to fire the poor ones, the one whose performance is unsatisfactory.
Fire the poor ones, like the ones that don't have a lot of money. No, that's not what he was saying. That's just funny the way he said it.
They will be fired.
That's good. That's absolutely good. They need to pay teachers more money, though. Because, like, you can't fire people from these shitty fucking jobs and expect everybody else to want to take their place. They've got to give teachers more money.
I don't know. If we definitely should give the good teachers more money. I don't think we should give all teachers more money. A lot of teachers don't deserve more money. A lot of teachers are there because they want to teach, but there are still a lot of teachers that are there that are only there because it's a job, and because it's the only job that they could get 50 years ago when there weren't really any jobs for women, like in my town.
The Apprentice, you're fired. Third,
no way.
Whose performance is unsatisfactory, they will be fired. Like on The Apprentice, you're fired.
That's his show, by the way. That was his show.
That was stolen.
Third, we will ensure our classrooms are focused not on political indoctrination, but on teaching the knowledge and skills needed to succeed.
Imagine
reading, writing, math, science.
Holy shit. Revolutionizing the school system.
Arithmetic and other truly useful subjects. Fourth, we will teach students to love their country, not to hate their country like they're taught right.
I agree, but don't make them do the Pledge of Allegiance. That's some commie shit. I mean, you can have the Pledge of Allegiance, but don't make kids do it. I was made to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I believed it was commie. And I love America, and always have. And people would constantly berate me because I refused to stand up. They were like, be a patriot, stand up. I'm like, you are acting like a communist.
Now, fifth, we will support.
Did you guys have to do the Pledge of Allegiance whenever you were in school? I know we did. I feel like it kind of fell off a little bit, but I remember, yeah.
Bringing back
We should not do that. No Pledge of Allegiance.
prayer to our schools.
That's okay. I like
Sixth,
that.
we will
Huge disagree on this.
No. Because Asmongold misunderstands. He thinks that the school is going to be doing prayers. That is not true. There is going to be prayer leaders for people who want to pray.
I don't think prayer and school should have anything to do with each other. I think that there should be a place for students that want to be religious to pray. I think that's totally fair.
Yes.
But to have it be incorporated into the actual curriculum or
100%.
into the actual function of the school, no.
Yep. Asmongold's right.
achieve schools that are safe, secure, and drug-free, with immediate expulsion for any
Oh, by the way, yeah, private school, absolutely acceptable. Totally fine.
schools. Sixth, we will achieve schools that are safe, secure, and drug-free,
Oh.
with immediate expulsion for any
Good luck with the drug-free. They've been trying to make schools drug-free for so long. They'll get rid of one drug and then a new one comes along. Happens all the time. It's like a cycle. It's just a new drug happens that they didn't expect. When I was in like 6th grade, the high school was having problems with pills going around. When I got into high school, had a problem with people smoking weed. I don't think it's a problem. It is for kids to be smoking weed. And then when I got out of school, it was vape additive, which was the worst of all of them. It's worse than pills. That shit was like liquid heroin. I say liquid heroin, I mean like it was already in a liquid and you vaped it. And it was like heroin. And the withdrawals were the same.
student who harms a teacher or another student. Seventh, we
That's good. That's true. That's exactly what they should do. There's no reason to tolerate a violent student for any reason.
Yep.
And being violent should have a zero tolerance policy. There's no reason why anybody should put up with that. If you're hitting people and touching people in school, like we had a school where there were plenty of gangs there. There were like plenty of people that were, like a lot of them are in jail now. And everybody got along. There's no reason that somebody has to be violent. They already do? Yeah.
will give
Yeah, the way we did it is if somebody had something to say, we wouldn't fight in school. We would set up a meeting place and we would have a good fight. There would be no dirty tactics. We're going out down the gravel road, down to the lake, and we're gonna be in the driveway of the lake or whatever it's called, the parking lot, gravel parking lot. That's where we fought. And when you're done, you got up and shook hands. That's just the way we did it. That was just tradition, I guess. Everybody did that.
all parents the right to choose another school for their children if they want. It's called school choice. Eighth, we
Yep.
will ensure students have access to project-based learning experiences inside
Yep.
the classroom to help train them for meaningful work outside the classroom.
Yeah, stuff like building robots and computers and stuff.
This is a really big component. Self-defense.
Yeah, that too.
Well, yeah, of course, that's different.
Yeah. No,
Like,
it's, I don't
obviously
know.
it's different. Self-defense. But it's not even a question, right? But I'm not talking about that. So meaningful is the key. Yeah, I think this is a huge W. I'm not if I had a kid, I would never send my kid to private school. Absolutely not. Because I think
100%.
that being in public school is like a very important socialization tool, and it allows you to understand and deal with people that aren't like you. And I think that's like one of the most valuable. Like I think I learned a lot in high school, but I didn't learn anything in the actual classroom, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So-
well, I mean, I did learn stuff. I learned a lot of stuff. I had a lot of cool teachers though. Perks of being in a small town.
Like I would want to prepare my kid to be able to deal with the people in his community, right? And those are going to be the people that are rich, the people that are poor, the people that are stupid, the people that are coming from every other, walk of life. So personally, I'm very much a public school enjoyer. I think it was a great experience for me, all my friends, and I would want to have that happen. But, of course, it's individual people's choices. I think that what he's saying about having meaningful exercises and meaningful curriculum in schools is really important. I think one of the big issues, and this especially happens in the second half of high school, is that a lot of what kids learn are things that they're never going to use.
Yeah, it's things that they're trying to prepare you to go to college, even though most of the kids aren't going to college. It makes no sense. Like, why are we doing that? I didn't go to college, and like half of my classes and half of the tests in those classes were to prepare to go to college. They wanted us all to go to college, and that's not realistic. Why? Why are you teaching everybody to go to college when only like 2% of us are going to college?
Like, I would say about 99% of everything that you learn in Algebra 2, you will never learn beyond Algebra 2.
For most people. Because I work with computers and Linux and kind of a programmer. I mod games. I use a lot of math, a lot of algebra and calculus.
And you'll never use beyond Algebra 2. Unless you're
true.
like working in
Yeah.
a specific field.
Yeah. Or you just, have a hobby that incorporates all of that stuff. Also, carpentry. He's wrong, actually. There's a lot of stuff that involves algebra.
So the problem is that,
like advanced algebra.
how many of you guys remember your locker combination from high school? No one, right?
I didn't have a locker. I mean, I did. I didn't use it. I just used my girlfriend's locker because it would save time when I walked her to class. I didn't have to go all the way to the other side to get to my locker.
The reason why is because you're not readily using that information. If you teach kids a bunch of stuff that they're not going to use regularly, they will forget the information, and it will be just as if you've never taught it to them at all. They're not going to remember any of this stuff. They're going to immediately forget it because it's not relevant to them, and they're going to forget how to do it. Yeah, use it or you lose it.
Ninth, we will strive to give all students access to internships and work experiences.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Holy shit. Yeah, I know my high school is trying to do more of this too, because like they had like more of a focus on like doing trade school type stuff. And this is it's massive. I did my locker. Yeah, sure. It's not going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Like if you think that Trump is a bullshitter and he's lying and none of this stuff is happening, I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm not going to fight with you about this.
That can set them on a path to their first job.
Yeah.
They're going to be very, very successful. I want them to be more successful than Trump. Let them go out and be more successful. I will be the happiest person in the world.
Yeah.
But we want our children to have a great life and be successful. And
Yep.
10th, we will ensure that all schools provide excellent.
Yeah, I think that's a huge component. Like having kids be able to get jobs immediately out of school is like super, super important. And I think also like there's a big issue.
I disagree with the jobs thing, but kinda. Because I don't think we should all have jobs. I think a lot of us should just be working and not having jobs. I think that's a big problem that we have. I think we need to normalize people just going out and working for people. I think door-to-door work, like, hey, you need somebody to mow your grass for you? I will do it. Because you are elderly or disabled, And I work cheap. Cheaper than a landscaping company that has like 300 employees to pay for.
Like in high school, how many of you guys were fed the mantra or like the ideology of if you don't go to college, you kind of didn't make it?
Yep. That was actually kind of what destroyed my relationship with my ex. That was the beginning of it, was that she was going to college. I thought it was useless. Turns out I was right. It was useless. And she's working at a grocery store now. So what the fuck was that? Wasted years, wasted time, wasted work, wasted tears.
Like you kind of fucked up. Me, right? Everybody. And so like, is that really true? No, it's not really true. Like there's plenty of guys that didn't go to college.
I don't know a single person that went to college except for maybe 2. And they're not doing anything that they went to college for.
And they own a plumbing company and they make $600,000 a year. Now,
True.
That's also a minority, but it's a minority of anybody making $600,000 a year, right? Let's be honest. And also, they don't have a massive amount of student loan debt. So, like, I think there's a very big issue where kids in school are taught that going to college is like the only way to be successful in a way that's respected by society. And I think that if high schools spent more time like teaching kids trades, like for me, for example, like what did I want to do like after school? I wanted to do computer repair. Well, I actually didn't want to have a job. I wanted to live off the government and play video games all day. But my second best thing would be doing computer repair. So like whenever I was in school, every year I took computer maintenance. And
I was banned from it. I am a computer wizard for my town, not for the United States. Obviously, I'm like a low tier. But for my town, I'm master. And I was banned from using the computers at all at the school because I hacked into their system and sent somebody a message through their like server login thing. So they banned me from, instead of putting me in their program for hackers. That's what they do. They banned me. Morons.
I would go around the school fixing computers, doing repairs, and, you know, like basically making sure that all of the computers in.
By the way, I still did all those things too. I was just banned from personal use because the students knew that I could help them. Whenever there was a problem that they needed help with, that they couldn't help with, they needed somebody who actually knew about computers, the students would come pull me out of class, the admin for the diagnostics, whatever, networking class. So I could help. Morons. Such morons. These teachers. These people that work at these schools are stupid.
The school run well. And I even taught like the younger kids, like, you know, the kids that are like a grade under me whenever I was a senior, and, you know, people that were grade ahead of me when I was a junior and sophomore, they taught me, right? Like that's the way it works. And so anyway, all of this happened is that like by the time that was finished, a lot of my friends now, like that were in that class, they almost all got tech jobs and they have good jobs now. They have great jobs. And so
none of the people I know that worked in that diagnostics computer class have tech jobs. They're all either like working factories or minimum wage, but that's pretty much everybody around here.
So like, and we got certifications and like all of that stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, it was really asking, well, of course I had to teach people, right? I mean, that's your responsibility. And so anyway, there were some times, bro, like, oh God, this is a bit of a tangent. So one time, like about like 60% of every single computer problem happened in the special ed room. And so I spent an entire day trying to fix a PC and I couldn't fix it. I spent the entire like 2 hours of like the class period trying to fix this PC. I come back the next day with 3 of the younger kids, like not younger, they're like a grade under me. And I'm like, yeah, guys, I don't know what it is. I walk into the room. The router was unplugged. And I was like, guys, wait out there. And I'm like, I plug it in and I see it where I'm son of a bitch. Yeah, teacher, he just called me on the phone. He said that he said y'all need to go get some keyboards. And yeah, just real quick, y'all need to get some keyboards and then come back and then it'll be good. Because I would always tell them, the thing is, like, I had this thing I would tell them. I said, you have to think outside the box, which means, like, make sure all the cables are connected. And I would tell the kids this.
That's good.
And then the motherfuckers unplugged. And I knew, right, because everybody here was a young guy. So, like, if they saw that I didn't do that, bro, they would have, like, that would have been it for me. I would have been done. And they come back later, and they're like 5 minutes later, they're like, yeah, he said he didn't call you. I was like, oh, it must have been like somebody else. And they're like, okay. I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, oh, I fixed it. They're like, what'd you do? I was like, oh, I went into the BIOS and I had to re-register the command prompt system. And then I had to release and, you know, confirm a new IP address. And then after I did that, you know, the computer worked just like it's supposed to. They're like, wow, really? I said, yeah, you know, it is what it is. And they're like, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, all right, let's go back to class, guys. We're done. And I felt like such a fucking retard, man. That was it. So, like, I learned a lot in that class, right? We learned a lot. And a lot of my friends in that class, even the ones that were like a grade under us, even they got jobs in tech. Even they got jobs in computer repair.
Yeah, I think he was in a way more populated area than I am. Not as many opportunities for that stuff. I would be able to have a tech job right now if I was not poor and in this area and knew people.
And so, like, why can't you have that for welding? Why can't you have that for carpentry?
Exactly.
Why can't you have that for other things that aren't computers? So that's it. 2 minutes and 45 minutes? Yeah, exactly, right? Watch your stream, maybe. And you got into the mainframe. I would have called you out. Yeah, but you didn't. So they knew less than I. They didn't know shit. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, a lot of them, like the grade under me, they were so dumb. They didn't know anything.
Yeah, the guy that they put in my place in that diagnostics class ended up dropping out of school. He had no idea what he was doing with computers, by the way. No idea. He was the school bully, and he got kicked out of that class for putting dip spit, like, he took his dip out and stuck it on the inside of a computer case. But I get banned. He didn't even get banned.
Like, I don't know how any of the computers worked the year after I left. And so, yeah, some computers, some high schools have it. Yeah, my high.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, I was helping a lot. Like, they must have had a lot of issues when I graduated. Because I was keeping their smart boards up to par. Because nobody knew how to use them. The computer guy was like 60 years old.
School now has a lot more of it, and it's a good thing. But yeah, like teaching kids how to have like actual like, and here's another component to it as well. It's a way to give kids a degree of ownership and a degree of responsibility. I think a very big problem is that kids are never given any responsibility outside of like, you have to turn in your homework. And so if you have a kid responsible and in charge of things that are important, even at an early age, it teaches them, like, basically me fucking that up when I'm 17, way less damage than if I fuck it up whenever I'm 27. So that's the thing. It provides a safe space for people to fuck up in.
Jobs and career counseling so that high school and college students can get a head start on jobs and careers best suited to their God-given talents. This is how we will ensure a great education for every American child.
What about the people that got left behind, though, that are now adults? Do they get anything? Because I'd really like to see that.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them.
By the way, I don't agree with this. I don't think this is a good decision. I think you should reform the Department of Education rather than get rid of it.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do, kind of, though. I think they're just going to form some other thing, which is... the next administration is just going to destroy it. Like, I don't even know what the point of this is with the Department of Education. I don't get that one. Nobody actually knows what the Department of Education does because it does so many things. We just need to change it. We don't need to shut it down, I don't think, because it's just going to come right back.
Imagine, like, 10 years later, it's like the Civil War. Oh, you mean the War of Northern Aggression? Yeah. For sure. Yeah, definitely.
To run the education of our children.
What?
Because they'll do a much better job of it.
You don't know.
You can't do worse.
You don't know.
We
You
spend
ain't from the
more
South.
money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation.
What a waste.
And yet we're absolutely at the bottom. We're one of the worst. So you can't do worse. We're going to end education coming out of Washington, D.C. We're going to close it up, all those buildings all over the place, and you have people that in many cases hate our children. We're going to send it all.
Yeah, like, how are you going to have these organizations controlling, from Washington, D.C., controlling this small town public school that I have? Like, these people don't know what these towns are like. They only know the cities. It's sad that the cities are what dictate the towns.
All back
they hate
to
the
the
kids.
States. Thank you very much.
They hate the kids. Holy shit.
It is true. It is true. Whenever the State Department would come into our school, They would just be pointing out problems that all the kids are having, and they were hateful toward the kids. Like they wouldn't interact with the kids. They were just there to interact with the teachers because it was their job. No nonsense, no fun. They sit in the classroom. Whenever they'd sit in the classroom, by the way, they sit in the classroom and they watch the teacher, see how they're teaching. That doesn't work because they always change how they teach, and the kids always act different because there's a state representative in the room. Makes no sense. No sense. Just get the federal government out of the schools and let the states and the counties and the cities and the towns handle it.
How can it be okay? He's only talking policy after he's elected. Why didn't he campaign on these very specific plans? It's a joke.
He did. He's just expanding on it now.
Who's going to tell him? Why do you think he has a campaign advertisement at the end of the video? There's a lot that you can criticize him on. Why make shit up?
That was on November 3rd that was posted. Like, look.
Why do you think he has
Was
a
it November
campaign
3rd?
advertisement at the end of the video? There's a lot.
No, it was November 9th. I thought it said November 3rd. But yeah, that is campaign advertisement. So that was from his campaign. But that would have just been icing on the cake if it would have been like before the election.
That you can criticize him on. Why make shit up? Yeah.
The worst part is I don't think he was making shit up. I think he actually thought that. Somebody else made it up. They're all liars. Every single one of them. They hate your kids.